Okay, in keeping with my graphic formats that I want to show you is today we're going to talk about animated GIFs. Now, animated GIFs go way back in the early days of the internet, and it's basically a series of pictures that are rotated so that they look like they're in motion. So here we are on the Wikipedia page, and if we're looking at graphic interchange format. It's basically a GIF animation right here, and again, what this is basically a series of still images that are displayed rapidly, so it looks like there's movement. And I'll link this page up so you can see some samples. You could take videos and save each frame of the video out to give you a GIF animation. That's a very common thing to do. And it would be good for you to read at least how a GIF works and why it's important. In fact, in the old days, back in the early mid-90s and early 90s, we used this GIF format a lot because a lot of the graphics were very a lot of computers weren't very powerful, so we used to use this format so that we could save space. And so again, it's called a GIF animation. I'm gonna make one in Photoshop, but some of the 3D programs that I like that could make GIF animations would be SketchUp, which is a really free, fun. If you've never played in a 3D program before, I highly recommend it. This is a Google, well, it used to be a Google product. I don't know. I think they spun it off into something called Tumblr here or whatever this is, SketchUp. And you can find it on the Google website. And there's a free version. It's a free program. Download it. It's a really fun. And I actually have some videos on how to use SketchUp. So maybe I can find them and link them up. Yes. And then there is some free, maybe some, and on CNET is probably a better place to find software because at least hopefully you won't get a virus from the software that you get on this website. CNET is a a website that has been around for a long time. It sort of reviews products and reviews software and then gives you links to them. And I really don't know if there's a free and an easy GIF animator. Most of them say buy. There's probably a free one somewhere. But again, I'm just going to use Photoshop, and before I start using Photoshop, I'm just going to go get some images. I'm going to do a moon spinning around the Earth. So I'm just going to go to Google here and type in images and then Earth. And then let's hit OK. The one I want to use will be this one right here. I'm going to use this one. Sure, this is the one right here. So, as I'm going to Google Images, I can just find the image I want. If I click on it, it'll take me to the main image. And if I right-click on it, I can say Copy Image. Or you could save it on your computer by using the Save Image As and save it on your computer. I'm just going to copy image, though, by right-clicking and saying Copy Image. Then I'm going to go into Photoshop. Once I'm in Photoshop, I'm going to kind of make a new document and put it in there. So in this case, I'm in Photoshop right now, and I'll talk about it. Oh, still using the trial version here. And but I finally got my serial number, so I'll be able to use this. I don't know why this bridge is running here. Let me close that. Okay, so inside of Photoshop, I'm going to say File, New, and I'm just going to make I'm going to make one that's maybe 300. No, I'm going to make it 200 by 200 pixels. So I'm going to say File, New. And again, I'm making everything for the internet, so I'm using pixels here. And since I'm making a GIF animation, I'm going to use pixels here. So under the File, New option inside of Photoshop, I'm going to type in 200 by 200 pixels. I'm not going to worry about what size, it recognized the size from the picture and tried to give me that dimension, but I don't want it to be too big. So I'm going to hit OK. And it gives me a document here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here by hitting the Control plus, or on a Mac it would be Command plus. Then I'm going to paste that image of the Earth into this document. To paste the image of the Earth, I'm going to go under Edit Paste. And why is it there? Well, it's there because I copied it from the web page. So I'm just going to go under Edit Paste. And there it is. Now, if it's too big to fit on your screen and you notice it doesn't fit within the 200 by 200 pixel image that I wanted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink the picture down so it fits in a window. To do that, inside of Photoshop, I use the Transform option. It's under Edit, Transform, Scale. And I use this a lot. I probably use this most of the time just to rescale things so that they fit within windows. And so again, I go under Edit, Transform, and Scale. And now you could grab these little boxes that they have around the outside here. If I really wanted to, I could grab the edges and shrink it down here and move it around. I could do that. Yeah, that's fine. And you'll see I can make it, and I'm going to actually shrink it down a little bit smaller so it fits. I want black around the outside, and you'll see what I mean, because I'm going to have the moon come around from behind the Earth and around in the front and back around again. So I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. It's a little pixelated here because it's not. I'm zoomed in 200% right there. So after I'm done scaling, I'm going to hit the tool up here, the first tool in the toolbar. That is the move tool. That'll sort of take and say, hey, do you want to make sure you want to take that? And I'm going to say yes, and say apply. Okay. Next, if you look over here in the layers window, and if you don't see layers, you can always go under window layers, and it'll pop up the layers window. I'm going to pull that out a little bit so you can see it. In the layers window, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we see it. You'll notice the background here is white. I'm going to double click on it and make it a normal background just by double clicking on it twice, and it makes it a normal background. Once it's a normal background, by double clicking on it twice, I'm going to fill it in with black so we don't see the black all the way around the outside, and I'm just going to go under Edit, Fill, and I'm going to choose black 100%, and I'm going to hit OK, and it makes a black background. Next thing I want to do is get a moon so that the moon can kind of orbit around the Earth here. So I'm going to go over to back to Google here for a moment. Let me go back to Google here, and well, this time we're going to type in moon. And let me find a nice simple picture of a moon. Well, that's a pretty big one there. That one's already white around the outside. It doesn't really matter. Again, we could scale it down to whatever size we want once we get it into, this is a little bit smaller. So I'm going to click on this one, and then again right click and say copy image. I'm going to say find a picture of the moon, say copy image, and then I'm going to go back to Photoshop, and I'm going to paste image by going under Edit, Paste. Now it's a little bit behind and it's a little big, so I'm going to move the layer up, so because it pasted it right above. Since I had the background layer last, or this layer, the bottom layer right here selected last, pasted it right above there. I can move that layer up a little bit so it's above it. And then I'm going to scale it again. Again, you could use this Show Transform Controls right here instead of going under Edit, Transform, Scale. There, if you have this move tool selected, you can use this Show Transform Controls, and if I click on that, it'll actually show me the edges, and I can put my cursor along the edge of this box and scale it down. I'm going to move it around a little bit, scale it down, move it around a little bit, scale it down. I'm going to scale it kind of tiny, not too small, but small enough that it looks like a moon that's rotating. And again, when you're done doing a certain tool like scaling or something like that, again, all you need to do is click on the move tool right here, and that'll actually take in effect. So if I click on the move tool, I hit apply, and it'll take the effect. Now, I don't want like this black box that's around the moon here, so I could use the eraser tool and try and erase that out, but that's a lot of work. Easiest way would be to select the black area and delete it. There's a couple ways of doing it. Probably the fastest and easiest way is to use the magic wand tool if they still have it. This is CS6. I'm sure it's underneath here somewhere. Let's see. Where do they have the magic wand tool? Oh, it's the fourth one down in the list. It's called magic wand. If I click on the magic wand tool, I can then go click on the black area and then hit backspace or delete on my keyboard, and boom, it'll take it away. And then to unselect that, I'm going to hit the Control D on the keyboard. Again, let me redo that so you can see that again. Let me step backwards. Again, to select the black area, I want to select it so that I can hit the delete key. And that's how Photoshop works, is by selecting areas and doing things like that. So I'm going to use what's called the magic wand tool, which is located underneath the toolbar here. It's the fourth one down here. And if I click on the magic wand tool, I can click on the black area that's around the outside of the moon. And when I'm done clicking on that, I can hit the backspace on the keyboard and it'll delete it. And then I don't want the selection anymore, so to deselect, I can go under the select option here and say deselect or Control D on the keyboard. And then I can use my move tool and move my moon where I want it. Again, I want to kind of start here and kind of go around the Earth. Now, I'm going to kind of duplicate the Earth so that I have it so it looks like it's behind the Earth once and then in front. So let me duplicate this layer right here. And if I let me see if I can control drag, will it duplicate it? It didn't duplicate it. How can I duplicate that? Well, we can copy and paste. What I would really want to do is let's hide the moon for a moment. Now, if you're using Photoshop and you never used Photoshop before, it's a little bit difficult, and there's a lot of tools. But there's this little eyeball in the layers window right here that turns the layer on and off. And what I want to do is I want to remove. I want to cut a portion of the moon or the earth out here and put it on a layer above so that we could do some things so it looks like it goes behind the earth. To do that, I'm going to hide the moon for a moment by clicking on the eyeball. I'm going to make sure I have the earth's one selected here, and I'm going to use the selection tool here, the oval, the elliptical marquee tool. I'm going to put my cursor kind of in the middle of where the earth is. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to click and drag, and it's going to kind of draw a kind of circle from the middle out. That allows you to draw from the middle out. That's again called the Alt key. And by doing that, I can then select part of the earth and I can copy by hitting the Control C on the keyboard. Then I'm going to click on the moon over here, so when I paste it, it's going to paste it above here. I'm going to hit the Control V, and by doing that, I can then have two Earths. I have one on top of the other. And the reason why is I can have the moon kind of behind it. Do you see that right now? It's in between the two Earths that I have right here. Okay, so let's do an animation. So the easiest way to do an animation is prepare the artwork first. In this case, I have the artwork. I have one moon, I have an Earth, I have one Earth, I have a moon, I have another Earth behind it, and then I have a black background. So black background I really don't care about, so I'm going to lock that. How you lock a layer so you don't mess with it is you can click on it and there's a little lock right there. Boom. And then there's another layer. This one right here is not going to animate at all, so I'm going to lock that too. So what I want to do is, and in fact I think I can even lock this layer right here, the one on top. Okay, so how the animation works is, if you saw the animation that we were looking at, I said it's a series of pictures that change so fast that it looks like there's motion happening. So what we're going to do in this case is I'm going to make a series of pictures inside of Photoshop with the earth in a different position for each picture, and then I'm going to save it as an animated GIF. To do that, what I'm going to do is open up the timeline. It's under Window, Timelines inside of Photoshop right there, and it pops up this window right here. Now the timeline is a little bit confusing and it's different for each version of Photoshop. So this is Photoshop 6.0, so it's a little bit different than the older versions, but I think you'll be able to figure it out. Here's the easiest way to deal with the timeline is to put it in what we call frame mode. What frame mode is where you have little pictures of each one, and then you can change them. So here, let's look at how we can turn the timeline into frame mode. In the timeline window in the upper right corner, there's a pop-up window, and in there I believe we can change it. Let's see, how can we change it? Maybe over here, create frame animation. I'm sorry, and this is a version of Photoshop CS6, so it's different than the old one. It says create video timeline right here in the middle of this window. I can change it to create frame animation. Create frame animation. Then I go in the upper right corner over here. No, that's still not going to work. Okay, again, I just clicked the button here and it put it into frame mode. I don't know how the easier way of getting it into frame mode. I clicked the button and I pulled down menu and I clicked it and it put it in the timeline into frame animation mode. Again, you might need to use the upper corner over here to get into the option. I'm not sure in the older versions of Photoshop. But in this case, once you get into the animation mode here in the timeline window, you could see your little picture right here. So my first picture I wanted to look like this, basically. The moon is starting from behind the earth. My second one, and to put a new frame, I'm going to click next to, there's a little trash can here in the middle. There's like a new frame option. It's right next to the trash can here. If I click on that, it'll make a new frame, and as you can see here, it's a number 2. This is 1, 2. And then I'm going to change the way that my image looks. I'm going to actually turn the first Earth off up here so that the moon is in front of the Earth. So all I did was turn the eyeball off on the Earth that's over top of the moon there. Next I'm going to hit another new frame, And this time I'm going to use the move tool. I'm going to move the Earth. Oh, make sure you select the layer you want. I want the moon layer right here. I guess I could call it moon. Let me give it a name, moon here. And I'm just going to move it a little bit. And then I'm going to hit a new layer. And I'm going to move it a little bit more. I'm just using the move tool here, and I'm on a layer called moon. And all I'm doing is making a new frame right here. This is a new frame. Move the moon. New frame. Move the moon a little bit. 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 Oh, not too far out. New frame. I'm going to turn the eyeball on for the moon that's over top, so it looks like it's behind it now. And then I'm just going to turn these. I'm going to make a new frame and turn these both off, and then just make a couple frames so it looks like it goes behind for maybe two frames. So basically the last two are I turn the eyeball off for the Earth and the moon, the Earth on top and the moon, and then I made two blank ones so it looks like it's somewhat flying behind it, I guess, like a pause, I guess, and then the Earth will come back around. If you want to see what the animation looks like, you can hit, there's like a little play button down here in the timeline here. If I hit the play button, you can see there goes the Earth. And there should be, oh, it says play once. So whenever you make an animated GIF, you can have it just go through the animation once, or you can have it loop around and around and around and around. And so where it says once down here, I'm going to change it to forever. And then I'm going to hit the play button. There's like a little play button at the bottom here, and you hit the play button, it goes around, goes around, goes around, goes around, goes around. Okay, so once it's going around, there's also a time delay. Right now it says 0 seconds. On yours it might say 5 seconds. It really just depends on the default in there. To change the time of each of the frames, you can select them all by using the Shift key. And I'm going to, the first one selected right now, you can see it's a little bit different gray. And I'll hold the Shift key down, and I'm going to click on the very last one. And then if I just choose one of them, it doesn't really matter. Once they're all selected, you can change the time of each of the frames all at the same time. So if I click on here, I could say maybe once a 0.1 second. That'll be a little bit slower than forever, because the problem with no delay at all is it'll go as fast as the computer can calculate it. So faster computers, the animation go faster, and slower computers, it'll go slower. So it's best to give it some kind of time, and it's a 0.1 second, so it's like a tenth of a second, I guess, or maybe it is 1 second. I'm not really sure. No, it's less than a second. So you'll see it going, and so there's an animation right there. So to save this, then we're going to go and save it into, and the most important thing, if you're going to hand code this into a web page, you got to know what size it is. And if we go under image size, you'll notice it's 200 pixels by 200 pixels, and I might write that down so that if I'm going to program this into a web page, I need to know how big it's going to be. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as a GIF animation. To save it as a GIF animation, I go under File, Save for Web and Device. Again, I'm using Photoshop CS6, and so I go under File, Save for Web and Device. You do it in older versions too. We're going to make sure it says GIF as the format up here in the very top corner. The more colors you give it, the better the quality it will be, but of course the larger the file size. So you know, when you're making a GIF, you're balancing between the amount of colors and the file size and the quality of the image. In this case, I'm just going to hit save, and it's going to give me an option. I'm going to put it in my folder. I already have a folder somewhere. I've been working on web graphics somewhere. Linking example, and graphics. And I already made one right here. I'm just going to give it a number 2. This will be Moon Earth 2. Moon Earth 2. And then let's hit save. And that's how you make a GIF animation in Photoshop.